You might be wondering what in the world. I've got a drill with a drill bit already in it, scissors, I got an empty pellet tin. This is a Swiss military M71 alcohol fueled stove. And then we have this other Magic Flame. I think I might have picked it up at Dollar General or somewhere. And an old sock. What does it have to do with survival? Stay tuned, I'll tell you. Alright, what we want to do first, this is not going to be anything big, or this is going to be elementary to a lot of people, but I understand that I do have a lot of younger viewers, and I just want to start at the very basic bottom of the list, get them started, and then we can go from there. So in this old pellet tin, it has a top, bottom, and this does not screw on, it just pops on. Okay? First thing I'm going to do is take a drill, and I'm going to drill through the lid into the other piece. And that'll, maybe, if this is a good drill bit. Alright. Now the reason that we did this is because when that hole is directly aligned, there we go, I just raised the lid a little bit. When that hole is directly aligned, we're going to be able to let the smoke out. It might be a good idea to place a mark, probably scratch it, do something, because it's going to heat up and get charred, and that way you'll know when this mark and this mark's aligned, your hole's aligned. And then when you don't need it, just simply rotate it. Okay? So, I've got an old razor blade knife here. I'll mark it just like that. It kind of looks like an arrow. You can mark it however you wish, but I believe this will work just fine for me. And there's an arrow. Clean that mess out of there. Don't need it. Get my fingers out of the way. Oh good grief, this is taking too long. There we go, it's out. Alright. Like I said, when you buy these Swiss military M71 stoves, you can see it looks like it's in German, French. Let me get up here, maybe it'll focus. It ain't English, I can tell you that. Even the instructions. No, you can't see it. Anyway, sorry about that. When you pop the top off of this, it'll have a foil seal that you'll have to take a knife, do something to cut this. But I didn't bring this stove out to use it, and it also has another lid. When you get these, they automatically come with this stove stand that after you pop the lid off and this is pierced, removed, whatever, then it has a little groove that it sits in, and that becomes your stand. So if this was my pot, it'll go right on top, heat my ration for the day, heat water for tea, whatever I need to do. So instead I've got this Dollar General thing that I'm going to use, but I'm going to use it with that stove stand. Now what I like about this stove, and actually the M71 will do the same thing, is this alcohol gel inside, which you can see is blue. If you use it down to a certain degree, say halfway, then you can just add some regular old rubbing alcohol or heat, something like that, and leave it in there. Shake it up once or twice a day, and it'll turn right back into this. And basically you have a never-ending supply of gel fuel. So if I turn it upside down, it don't fall out. Now, my old sock. In this sock, this top part, it's got a little bit of stretch, but not much. Up near the leg, that's where your elastic is. We don't need that. What we do need is a pair of sharp scissors. Or a knife. Just get rid of that. Now, I'm just going to take this old sock that I've wore flat out. You see the hole. See if I can get as much as I can. You want to leave a little bit of room for air, and it will shrink. So, I have to take about that much off. Oh, we just cut it again. Maybe. One more time. Alright. So then we're going to put this sock in here. Just like this. Try to get as much as we can in there. I think we can. Put our lid back on. Make sure we align the holes. Find my holes right here. Let's see, get it up here. You can sort of see that. Now, these holes are aligned. You can start these with a ferrocerium rod. Actually, why don't we? Just to show that it can be done. And you can probably see that. Maybe. Get started. Put our pot stand on and let her start going. Alright, now I did forget to really mention, I think, that this was a cotton sock. If you have dress socks, most of those are made with polyester and kind of makes them slick inside of a shoe and such. But now we're starting to see a good supply of smoke, and that's an indication that it's working. And eventually it'll catch on fire. There it is. You can see it start to catch. And that is just fine. That's actually what you want. Alright, you can see now that our burst of flame is not as high, not quite as often. So I believe she's winding down. And elapsed time since I cut the camera off, it's been about 8 to 10 minutes. I didn't time it. Whenever she stops smoking, that's when we're going to cut her off. Basically, what you've done is created an oven. I do not recommend doing this indoors because this stuff stinks. I would recommend, if you don't have to have this particular stove, you can build a small fire outside. Make you a coffee can stove, a soup can stove, anything like that. Actually, you could do this inside of a soup can, especially if you've got a side cutter that goes around the safety cut, and just make you a hole in that lid with a nail or something. And you don't have to actually have cotton. If I'm doing cotton, I actually prefer to do jeans because it's a thicker material, and in my opinion it works better than these old socks. But I've had this laying around, and what I could do is go back to the 80s and make me some, I don't know, it just ain't me. So I reckon I'll just make char cloth out of these. And that's what this is char cloth. But if you didn't have socks or denim, something else that you can use is some of the plants have a pith. And it's a corky type material that's in the center of that plant. And you can char that material as well as also some barks you can char. And I'm going to show you why we would do this instead of just leaving it a sock or a piece of denim or a plant or, you know, a piece of bark. And I picked up another lid from a smaller tin. I plan just to take this off, set it on here to cool so I don't burn the paint on this beautiful car. And Cody would be happy if I did not burn a round spot in this beautiful paint job that we have here. Alright, I believe it's just about done. I'm getting a little bitty flame. And I believe I'm going to go ahead and take it off and just let it finish out where it's at. Alright, we're back, and it has cooled off. I have not moved this, I've not opened it, and actually you do not want to, because while it's still hot, if you open it, it can combust. Alright, and this is how it turned out. This is kind of a crispy, crusty mess. I'll bring that a little closer so you can see. Some of it's brown, some of it's crusty, and some of it looks just about right, like right in this area. Okay? What I want to do is put that aside and go back to my original ferro rod, and that's why I like carrying a ferro rod. If this gets dumped in the water, there are ways you can dry them out and do it pretty expediently. But also, if it gets cold, the gases don't want to light. Uh-oh. Alright. We have actually a couple of I don't know if we can get that in frame or not. Wow, catching on fire again. Of course, this is inside the garage because it just got too dark outside. But it looks like it's out. But if all you have to do is just put a little oxygen to it, and she's going again. So you'd put this in a bird's nest and start a fire. just about, well, we have flame just from that. But I'm going to have to open these doors before my wife comes home and says, "What's that smell?" And I'll just have to, I don't know. I don't smell anything. So anyway, that's why we save our socks for survival and how to start a fire. And actually, any kind of a breeze is going to be your friend. It's not going to put it out. It's just going to fuel the flame. So join me next time on New and Old Survival, and we'll see what we can find.